Now, Franco, you say that spending by the Liberal government continues to spiral out of control, and that's adding to the interest we're paying on our debt?
Yeah, that's correct. The debt is spiraling out of control because spending is spiraling out of control. These massive deficits, massive borrowing means that now there's going to be more money wasted on debt interest charges. Okay. So this year, you have debt interest charges costing taxpayers $56 billion, right? Interest charges costing taxpayers more than $1 billion every single week. Or think about it this way: the next time you're in that checkout line, every single dollar you pay in federal sales tax is now going to pay interest charges on the debt.
So, how much will the deficit increase with this new budget?
Well, you're looking at a deficit of about $78 billion, right? The Carney government is borrowing almost $80 billion this year. And folks, don't buy the government spin. You might hear them talk about, oh, we're going to balance the operating budget. We're going to balance the operating budget. No, 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 no. Carney is not balancing squat if he's borrowing tens of billions of dollars every single year.
Now, the Liberals did say the more tax dollars will go towards nation building infrastructure, Franco, clean energy, productivity, and less on day to day operational spending. And public service should also see a drop of around 40,000 positions in the coming years. That's good news, is it not?
Well, no, the government needs to cut the bloated bureaucracy yesterday, right? We can't be waiting years down the road for maybe the federal government to shrink the bureaucracy. No, no, no. I mean, look, the federal government added 100,000 bureaucrats over the last decade. The only way to fix the finances, let's be blunt, is for Carney to fire bureaucrats. We need significant cuts to the bloated federal bureaucracy, and we should have had it yesterday.
Now, the budget also had some potential good news, Franco, for the energy sector. You're from Alberta, like I am, and that's in due to effective carbon markets, enhanced oil and gas methane regulations, and carbon capture storage, which we've seen a lot here in the province. It would create circumstances whereby the emissions cap would no longer be needed.
Well, look, I think the government should be getting rid of the cap on oil and gas production anyways, right? That should have never have been even flirted with by the federal government. But there's some bad news is because in the budget 2025, Carney commits to the industrial carbon tax, the hidden carbon tax on Canadian businesses. And like, look, hidden carbon tax on Canadian business is really the worst of all worlds, right? Higher prices for you and fewer jobs for Canadians. Because here's what a hidden carbon tax on Canadian business does: it makes Canada's economy less competitive and pushes our entrepreneurs to cut production here and set up shop south of the border.
Now, the federal government is also eliminating a couple of high-end taxes, Franco, including no luxury tax on aircraft priced over 100,000 and boats priced over $250,000.
Well, that doesn't go nearly far enough when it comes to tax relief. I mean, come on. Canadians are paying way too much tax because the government wastes too much money. Not only in the budget is there this commitment to the hidden carbon tax on Canadian business, but like, come on, we are looking at the government spending about $581 billion this year, right? So the government is spending about $38 billion more this year than what it spent last year. So we need major tax relief in Canada. What's in budget 2025 ain't going to cut it. And look, Canadians are paying way too much tax because the government wastes too much money.
Franco Terrazzano, Federal Director of the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. Thanks so much for joining me today from Ottawa.
Hey, thank you.